be gentle. What's up, y'all? I'm Jared, by the way.
Pardon me, I am Josh. Good to be here, brother. Thank you.
Probably be able to read the title. This will probably be Josh and Jared cheat on the past 2 weeks because
It's been a minute. It's been a hot minute for real. I'm sorry about that, man.
It's one of those deals that got together, watched Double or Nothing. I forgot what it was called for a second. And I was like, started to do a review of it. I was like, no, we need to save it for Super Showdown. And that was just a total disaster. It didn't happen.
Oh, man, I'm here to tell you, Goldberg and Undertaker apparently was a great one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, I'm with you. It's all like, I appreciate Jericho going to the mat for him and all that good stuff. These guys are legends and la-di-da. And I've just never understood Goldberg anyway. He made a crap ton of money. He did a really good job making a crap ton of money when wrestling was the whitest hot thing on earth. White hottest. Maybe that's what I'm looking for. Good for him. Hot. But it's like, we've talked about it before, but it's been a minute since Taker had a good match. I'm not a Goldberg guy, so it's just like, I mean, I feel bad for Bill because he felt bad for a couple of the spots, but everybody was okay. So he felt bad about it, but it's like, as long as nobody's hurt, who cares? It's fine, man. Ain't no thing.
I was just one of those gullible people that in 2002 or 1 or whatever it was when you heard these stories about, Bill's going to go over and work some matches in Japan. I was like, all right, he's going to go over there and he's going to go to school and come back and be awesome. And I think it was probably me talking to you, and you looked at me like, how stupid are you?
Oh, man.
That's not why he's going over there. I was like, what?
It was they wanted the $1 Million Man, and they apparently put him in the ring with Kawada, which is a terrible decision because Kawada hates Americans anyway. Apparently, when he came over in the youth of his career, he was not treated well.
Mm-hmm.
So Kawada hates America. Ricky Morton's got that story about Robert Gibson beating the absolute crap out of him in Japan. They went over and worked, but he does not have time for the gaijins. That is not his thing. He don't like us.
Yeah, and it's kind of on that level of, my feeling of the WWE these days. It's like, okay.
Oh, here's the.
Okay. You said Brock was going to cash in on Monday. You said Super Showdown was going to be just as big, if not bigger, than WrestleMania. At some point, I'm going to stop believing you.
I'm digging that. The WrestleMania thing, or the Saudi show thing, I think as far as what the boys get paid, it probably is the biggest. Because again, it's like Undertaker is not trotting himself out there once a year for WrestleMania anymore. He's going to the desert. It's like, hey man, if the paychecks are that big, do your thing. It's cool, man. Yeah. Have a good time with that.
Just advertise it as such, and maybe it's something that you just need not put on the network, but the precedent's been set, so now you're kind of stuck with it.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, if you got nothing better than that, just keep it to yourself.
It's all good, man. You can dark match the crap out of those things and chop them together and release it as a special.
All you got to do. There's the time difference anyway. Nobody was gonna get home on a Friday at 3 o'clock or whatever it was just to be there to see that line.
I gotta see it. Gotta know what happens.
I must know. But
excuse me, goodness.
Talking about Goldberg and the 90s run, I was just like, I was still trenched in markdom to where I just could not understand whether they were a wrestler or a baseball player or a football, anybody doing this for anything other than I just got to do it. I couldn't understand the concept of, no, this person does this for a paycheck. This is a job. Whether it was Jeff Kent or Bill Goldberg or whoever it was, now I don't necessarily do this because I like it. I don't necessarily do it because I'm good at it. I do it because it pays well.
Yeah, that's the thing that has always driven me crazy about the rah-rah Friday Night Lights. Play it for the love of the game. Oh, would God play it for free? Well, the people that play it don't have to play it for free. There's tons of people. There's tons of people, especially in the National Football League. Yeah. It is the legal way for them to make the most money they possibly can because they have a skill set that employers in the NFL are like, yes, we can win with that guy. Mm-hmm. It's got nothing to do. Ain't no love in it. It is not about love of the game. It's man. Why would anybody play professional football? Because they love it so. It's not like that at all. Don't nobody love that junk, man. The only people that love football are the ones that lost their careers in high school. Think about it, there ain't no Bruce Springsteen's down glory days, man. Get out of here, man. It's like, it's a chore. It's a job, just like anything else. And it's the reason that I love people like Matt Leinart and Dhani Jones. And there's a lot more guys that I should be naming right now. But dudes, like Matt Leinart's one of my favorite stories in the history of sport. That's a movie that they should make. Because Matt Leinart went to USC, won a Heisman Trophy, won a national title. Yeah, he won it. You know, he got taken away because Reggie Bush. Well, okay, he still won it. But it doesn't matter anyway. He goes and gets drafted in the first round by the Cardinals, gets his big contract guaranteed, and is all like, see ya. Seriously. Oh, man, Matt Leinart's career was terrible. He's still upright, ain't he? He can still complete sentences and put his own pants on. Hey. I think Leinart's the smartest guy in the room, man. It's all like, I'm getting my huge signing bonus. I'm putting it in the bank. I'm good. I'm done forever. I'm like, good for you. Heck yeah. It's like, good for you, man, because the second you can get out, it's great. If you want to keep doing it, that's cool. But I just get tired of all that rah-rah romance crap. Same thing with like college sports. It's just the amateur status is what makes the college game superior to the NFL. Get out of here. That's not real. It's like the academic integrity of the NCAA. These things don't exist, man. Stop.
Creation.
Stop, for real. And wrestling's very interesting because Goldberg, a guy like Goldberg, stands out as the anomaly because so many people really do love it because you got to put up with so much crap. It's like being a pro wrestler is like being in a rock and roll band. There's a reason that rock stars have such crap attitudes, and it's because, man, if you've ever got on a stage anywhere, I think we talk about it sometimes with like social media and people getting so upset with like, oh, they were mean on Twitter and oh my God, these comment sections, holy crap. It's like, man, some of y'all never jumped on the stage in high school. My goodness. Because it's like if you've ever done anything public and don't nobody know who you are, they can't wait to how much I hate you. It's not a problem. But then that's the deal is like whenever you have like, I mean, I can't imagine somebody like, just, gigantic rock stars. Just any rock star in the world. I promise you the first time they played, it wasn't like fireworks and throwing babies in the air. It was a bunch of dudes that were upset that their girls were looking at them and jeery and throwing stuff and being prickish about it. That's what it was. So when all of a sudden the whole world loves you and they can't wait to kiss your ass, you've still got that, like, you know what, F you and F that guy too attitude because it's like, just that happens. It totally happens. And God knows in pro wrestling, geez, you can go... I mean, in WWE now, they openly like mock people that are on top of the world in the business. But you go to any small independent show, go to any backyard gym show. I mean, it's just people talking crap. So once you've made it, it's all like, F you, I'll know you nothing.
It was one of those things that throughout life you hear people say, and it's like something kind of clicks, and it just kind of sticks with you. I've got a million of those, but this one in particular, in talking about Goldberg, always, and he may not even remember saying this, but it stuck in my mind as a kind of like what did he mean by that? Because of course I'm sitting there thinking, well, everybody loves this. Nobody would do this unless they absolutely loved it. It was Larry King back, and this was right when it was getting ready to really blow off. I don't know if he had dropped the title to him yet or not, but Hogan was on Larry King one night. Brother. And Larry, and it was, Goldberg was already a thing. I think they were working towards that title match. But it really wasn't a build up to it. It's hard to say they were working towards it, but maybe it had just happened, and that's why Hogan was on the show or whatever. And Larry King, in his Larry King way, like, Hulk Hogan, what do you think of this new star, Goldberg? And it's just the way he responded to the question. I don't remember word for word what he said, but he didn't just dive in like I had and everybody else, and none of it was just, oh, we just love him. We just love this guy, and he's just going to be great. It's going to be the best thing that's ever happened in this world. But the way he answered the question was kind of like, well, let's wait and see. Let's wait and see what this guy does. And I think he said the words like, I'm not sure he's in this for some of the best reasons. Yeah. Just the way it got said that kind of clicked in my head. Like, wait a minute, Hulk Hogan.
It's fascinating that Hulk would be the guy to trip on somebody's motivation, but he really gets to.
Wouldn't I know?
But the thing is, he really gets to, because the whole deal, like the story about Hulk that no one ever talks about, is of course, I mean, he's a huge guy. Hulk's a big guy, and it's a wrestling school, and people are there, and so Hulk's the biggest guy there. Hiro Matsuda breaks his leg first day. That's the first thing he does is he gets down, get on your knees, and he squashes his Achilles and breaks his leg. So the fact that he went back, that was, I mean, this is the whole thing. Like the Briscoe brothers said, man, we saw dollar signs coming off this kid, but you had to make sure that he really wanted it. Yeah. So I mean, Matsuda breaks his freaking leg, and then he comes back. So it's like Hulk is hardly like the paragon of virtue when it comes to how to be in the wrestling business, but he knows what he's talking about there. Because Goldberg never paid a single due in his life, never once. It was, hey, you can't play for the Falcons anymore. Come on down the street. Yeah. Here's your Stone Cold Steve Austin gear and have fun. And it's like, I mean, I totally see what people get mad about this. It's the same thing with like Ricky Morton with Hall and Nash. Kevin Nash. Scott Hall's a hell of a worker, and that's the point, is that Scott Hall had done it. He had gone through all that. And don't get me wrong, Kevin Nash had some gimpy gimmicks too, but it was just different. Yeah, paying dues in wrestling, man, it's still a big deal. People don't like when you don't do it. It's a strange thing. Like Lesnar gets kind of killed for that now, but it's like Brock put his time in. He really did. Brock, situation. Yeah, Brock put his time in, man. Brock has horrible matches now because he can afford to. Yeah, it's like, if you want me to have a good match, Vinny, you know what to do. It's called get your pen out and give me a couple more zeros, because that's just why in the world. Brock Lesnar is the Hulk Hogan, like, vibe is not the word I want to use. Brock is Hulk from hell, basically, because it's all like, Hulk always knew he had Vince by the short ones. So does Brock, and Brock really kind of revels in it a little bit. Like, man, I am not. It's Hogan. It's Hogan again. It's like, I'm not working hard. I'm not working often. I'm going to do the bare minimum, and I'm still getting the biggest check, so there you have it. And he's not wrong. I mean, if you're dumb enough to do it, if you're dumb enough to put all your eggs in that basket, okay.
It's like, I just think Brock is looking at it like, I don't have the interest to go off to Hollywood.
Yeah, oh yeah.
But I'll take your money, because you handed it out left and right.
It's the truth.
So to do that.
Yeah, it's like, I don't have to go to MTV to get the crossover appeal. I'm going to go to UFC and win a legitimate championship in this fighting sport. So when I come back, there's my crossover appeal. Yeah. There you go. Pay me. Yeah. It's like, all right, man, that's cool. But I just, I was thinking about that the other day, that, you know, there's the rumors about how Vince is trying to, like, he's very much aware of the fact that Rock went to Hollywood and left, because you're not going to match Hollywood money, man. That's not going to happen. So it happened with him, and now Cena is talking about retiring, and Roman was in the, you know, Fast Furious movie or whatever it was and all that. Yeah. So it's like, well, you know, you got to think that Vince is really kind of gun shy about, you know, he doesn't want his stars to get too big. And I'm like, I don't think that's the problem. I think that he's just going to, now he's dusting off the time-tested old school Booker mentality of like, I'll give my boy the belt, he won't leave me. And that's what that explains the whole Shane push, because who's gonna? Yeah, for real. My dad made me champion of the world. He said that my dad made me wrestle.
Oh yeah.
But I just think that's great. They're like, yeah, we're busting out all the classics. Oh, Shane, there you go, boy.
Yeah, that's one of the, as much as people complained about Goldberg and Taker from the show, man, it's just this relentless push of Shane that has it started it since WrestleMania 32. Just when he came back, and it's like, oh, is this really where they're going? And this slowly but surely we've gotten to this point where he's been the only star that's getting pushed. So it's like, hey, Hollywood doesn't want him, so just to put all the rockets up his ass.
It's just old school, man. I think that's too funny. That it's more of the same. Like, we've talked about it with all of the bringing up the screw job and all that again about, well, Brett, you know, he didn't want to do what was good for business and the traditions of the business. And it's like, Vince McMahon does not get to talk about the traditions of pro wrestling. You're the one that came in and took a pickaxe to that. But now you want it to be old school and unspoken, you know, there's unwritten rules, and this is decorum, and this is how you do it. So it's like, okay, now all of a sudden you want the old school. And I just thought the same thing. Like,
what it benefits me.
Yeah, seriously. And I'm bringing it back. I'm giving the belt to my boy. He won't leave me. He's not going anywhere. He's useless. What's Hollywood going to do for him? Why would Hollywood hire Shane McMahon? They could hire the genetic jackhammer. There you go.
That's how I'll book myself out.
Yeah, seriously, man.
I'll push Shane to the moon.
That's fantastic. But yeah, I'm hoping that if it leads to the end game that we always talk about, where make Shane the champ and then book him and Triple H at Mania for the title and for your life and for the company and for everything. Let's do it. That'd be great. Wrestling cannot be a borderless country soon enough. Mm-hmm. Oh man, that'd be so much fun. I would just love it. And we finished up Takeover. Started watching Takeover, and it was one of those things where it was just, jumping in and out. And to be totally fair, I told Jared then, and I meant it, we were in the Shayna Baszler Io Shirai match, which was real good. What we saw of it was really good, and we finished it today, and it was great by the time it ended. But honest to God, what I had seen up to the point, I'm like, man, we'll pick this up whenever we can. Yeah. I'm on cloud nine. It's just, I do it every time with an NXT show, but it's the truth. NXT is just my favorite. I love it.
It's what, I didn't rush to do a review of it, because it's kind of like, it's one of those you just need to just go watch, because there's only so much, like, this was awesome, and this was awesome, and this was awesome, that you can sit through. It's like, just go watch it.
It's tricky, man.
Do yourself a favor.
It's tricky, because don't want to skip nothing. Just watch it. The one thing that I will contrast from the New York show is, if you watched our review of the New York show, I thought the end of Gargano Cole was way too much. Gargano kicked out of way too much stuff. He just did. And they really remedied that this time. Don't get me wrong, there's 75 false finishes, but none of them felt overdone. It was good. It shouldn't say it was good. It's Johnny Gargano and Adam Cole. You expect them to be good. But even with the expectations going in, it's like, that was impressive.
I guess that was, if I did any type of review, I was talking to Josh about it, just like, it's one of those kind of things where it doesn't feel like every time you watch a Takeover, it's like, no, this was the best one. Now it just keeps getting better.
That's true, man.
It's hard to believe that. Going into it, I was like, it was hard to believe there's been 25 of them, and then they made the point on the show, like, to show you all the posters, like, no, we mean it.
No, we're serious. We didn't make it up. 25's not arbitrary. We really have done 25,
We're not rounding up this time.
Seriously. I will say one very specific thing about the show that I loved is just, I was telling Jared, it's two things, actually. I'm a liar. I'm not going to do one. I'm going to do two. There is this very subtle thing that a lot of the NXT guys do, juxtaposed with the main roster, I absolutely love, and it's this. I understand, unless you're Kenny Omega and Kazuchika Okada, you need rest holds. I like them. I think they work better for storytelling. It's not just about the fact that they're human beings and you might need a breather, but it works. I like the up and down. I like that. I mean, Kenny and Okada's great, but Jesus Christ, it's like going through a windshield in a car wreck in slow motion for 45 minutes to an hour at a time. I mean, it is all action all the time, and I totally get, for the unique factor. I would never want anyone to try and make professional wrestling that all the time, because you just can't. I mean, those guys they're special, and that's very cool to watch them do that thing. But I like the classic give and take and up and down and flex and tension. That's what's cool about rest holds. If you watch WWE and they go to rest holds, it is always reverse chin lock. Always. It's the only one anybody does. But man, you had this spot early on where Gargano kind of gets down and ties Cole's arms up and then puts him in this like little neck crank thing, and it's just a neat thing. Same objective of, okay, let's slow it down, knock the pace out, and just get us a rest hold, but it's a unique looking thing. Cole did the same thing. He did this like reverse knee bar. So you're just sitting there with a guy, it's a chin lock, but you got it around his knee because you're trying to wear the knee out. And it's just something so small. We talked about it with Alexa Bliss before. It always drove me crazy when Alexa would punch people, because they just tell you over and over again how little she is. She's like, well, okay, don't ball your fist up and punch anybody. And then she started using elbows, and it's like, right on. That's a good decision. I love little stuff like that. And as far as mapping out your match, here's the rest hold, it's all good, especially in Cole's case, because, well, actually both, because with Gargano, it would be like, it wasn't the Gargano escape, but you're working the neck, you're working the shoulder, so you're getting to it. Yeah. And with Cole, they had already established that Gargano, they were working on making Gargano's knee a thing, and I'll get to that. That's the second thing I want to talk about. But it's just little stuff like that, just something slightly different to look at. I love stuff like that. I'm always so impressed when people just come up with little things like that. it's not always the huge move that you do that's different from other people. It's neat sometimes just the basic stuff. Like KG, watching Muda get in the ring is more entertaining than watching most people work. I mean, it's just the way the guy moves. He's just wired differently. It's fantastic. Kenny Omega's got a lot of that too. Kenny, nobody moves like Kenny. He just looks different. But the other thing from that match is one of my favorite, probably my favorite bit on the show. And boy, I love that tag match because I love tag matches. But excuse me, there was this spot where Cole, man, he's working on the knee and he's just getting all upset. So he's sitting there talking to Gargano and all that junk. Takes Johnny's knee pad off to really drive home that I'm just going to crush this guy's knee and I'm going to kill him and it's going to be all good. Man, they wind up using that spot later to where it's like this double rollover. I'm sorry to say I can't give you the exact odds or the exact motions, but Cole winds up getting butterflied or, seeing stars. And he winds up down on the mat, and he had just done the Gargano escape. He had just done the Gargano escape to try and win, and then so he gets kind of knocked out, winds up sitting down, and Gargano comes off the rope and does the last shot. But to have it done it with the knee that the knee pad is off of, because that's how Cole does it when he goes to kill people. Man, that was so clever, and it wasn't bang bang either, because it was like they did it to set it up and then got back to it. So clever. What a cool little thing, man. God, I love that. I was very impressed with that. So that's a long way around. But there's lots of good stuff just in that last match. And it's it wasn't even my favorite thing on the show. So like the man said, watch all of it. It's just fantastic.
Yeah.
And Shayna Baszler's underrated as crap. Mostly by me. I'm the person that was same thing with Ronda. It's just I want to see Matt Riddle same way. All these ex-MMA people. Man, I don't want to see these folks. They're not going to. This sucks. And they just really seem to get it and to care and just work, man. They just work. I was telling Jared, one of my favorite things, if you've ever watched the show.
Bizarro Goldbergs.
So what?
Bizarro
Goldbergs. Yeah, man, because it's this is how you do it. It's this is really cool that they care so much. And apparently with Ronda being a fan, she was all in. I don't know if Shayna Baszler was or not, but I fuss all the time about the squirrely, crap-talking heel who then won't sell for people and won't do the chicken drop to your knees, run away, won't win underhanded.
Yeah.
It's one of the fun things about heels. It's one of the funny things about heels. That's it's the biggest problem with the NWO in history is that nobody wanted to be the punchline, which is really kind of sad because Nash and Hall were both really funny. It wasn't them. They were, especially Hall, they were totally okay with begging off and being ridiculous, but it's just, I don't know how that became their thing. But they were never bad about that. No, they didn't put anybody over, but they made you, when came time for the good guys to knock the heat off of them, they did. It's frustrating. Anyhow, I love the fact that you've got people who are just supposed to be the undersized, crap-talking whatevers that won't make people look good. Then you got Shayna Baszler, who legitimately could murder anybody on the roster. Not any woman on the roster, anybody on the roster. Yeah. And she will grab a handful of tights. She'll go for the quick roll-up. She'll distract the rest. She'll just do the little subtle things. Not much begging in Shayna's game because there shouldn't be. It doesn't fit the character. But the whole, I ain't above cheating. I love that. That is such a cool thing to give a heel. Man, I love that.
And that going into that match, that was one of the ones where I was just certain that it was going to be changing hands because it just feels like Shayna's on her way. But then they did do kind of a weird thing at the end of that one where you had Shayna retain, but then you have Io kind of flip out and go heelish crazy on her with the kendo stick. It's kind of how's that going to work?
It seems like the object was to punch that rematch ticket.
Yeah.
I'm going to beat the crap out of you so bad it's going to piss you off, and you're going to give me the rematch whether you want to or not. And I think that'll work. I think Io being...
As far as I know, that's the plan. What's been advertised as them in a cage.
Yeah.
So, cool.
It's a good idea, man. I'm with you. I've never, ever correctly predicted a Shayna Baszler match ever because it's she's getting called up, and I've just covered the last 18 months at least. It's every single time. It's she's coming up. They're going to call her up. Oh, she retained. Well, this time, and I'm wrong every time, so I haven't got it right yet. Yeah. But I think Io being the champ is cool, and I'm sure that Belair will get back in the as far as the title picture is concerned. So it's all good. If they take the belt off Baszler and move her up, it's fine. They got lots of good.
And my Takeover 25 bracket was busted after the first match, which was like I predicted a total Undisputed Era clean sweep, and then after the first match, I was like, well, now I can just watch the show. Now I can just enjoy it.
I think that one of these days that is going to happen. I don't know when they would do it, but it's because like you said, with it being 25 and it being like a standalone NXT, it makes sense. Yeah. But I think that the Street Profits decision was the right one. Those guys are white hot right now, so it's like, what a good decision. I'd never seen them either because I don't watch the weeklies. I just like to watch the pay-per-views. It's very, very fun. We talk about it all the time, man. It's fun to go into TakeOver, and it's just like opening a Christmas gift. And it's like, okay, who's this? And then you watch the video, and it's like, okay, cool. And then you watch them work, and you like them.
Couldn't have happened at a better time for Angelo Dawkins, the bigger guy.
I was going to say the Flyer or the Tank.
He's the bigger dude. And I think he was one of those dudes that had been lingering and looking for that, give me something, and this came along, and it's probably given him another couple of years that he wouldn't have had.
Behold the magic of the tag team. It's always been one of those things. Like Bobby Eaton would have not worked as a solo guy because he couldn't cut promos. Now, he had great solo matches later in his career, but it was because he was already established. The tag division has guys like James Storm, for Christ's sake. James Storm, Chris Harris. What were they doing before they were America's Most Wanted? Nothing. They became AEW. And as good, America's Most Wanted is an interesting thing, especially if you go back and watch the old matches and then watch Beer Money, because, man, it's like, AMW was fun, but holy crap, it's night and day as far as the quality. So it's one of the reasons I love the tag division is you get more people on the card, and it gives people places to go. We've talked about it forever. Forever. How long have you and I said that Dolph Ziggler and Zack Ryder should be a tag team? Forever we've been talking about that, man. That would have been cool if you'd have done it 2 years ago when it was still a good idea. But it's like, man, I'd love the fact that NXT has a good, it's not even a good tag division. It's excellent. NXT and AEW is new, but still, Jesus, just look at the people that they book. It matters. It's cool. Tag wrestling's a big deal there, and that's super cool, and I like it. But I like hearing that story because I didn't know that story. But it's just like, man, he's been on the roster for a minute and looking for something, and bam, you tag him up with this high flyer, and look at him go. It's great. That match was awesome. I knew it would be. I knew I was predisposed to like it. It's NXT Tag Division. I love it. But it was very cool because I just heard about those dudes, and I'm like, all right, let's see what's up. And then you watch them, and it's like, oh, that's what's up. All right, cool. I'm with you. I hear you. Wow. So, okay, I get it now, man.
Yeah, man. So, man, after this back-to-back weekends, just really good shows to check out. Went through Double or Nothing and Takeover 25.
Crazy, man.
Plenty to go around.
It's the best, man. It's a great time, man. I love it. I absolutely love this time right now, man, because there's always something on the Fight app, and there's always something you can look at. And also, you can always go to YouTube and just look up old stuff. One of my guys that I follow on, I talk about him all the time on here, man, it's Darth Vader. I keep saying Darth Vader 1, but I need to be clear. If you want to look him up, it doesn't have the H in it. It's just Darth Vader as one word. Okay. So it's like, okay, so if you're looking for him, that's the guy.
Throwing dart?
Yeah, man. So that's the dude, and he's great. He just covers New Japan and Pro Wrestling Noah, and he does a really good job. His New Japan stuff is unbelievable.
Cool.
But, crap, I brought that up for some reason. I don't remember what the heck it was, and it doesn't matter, though. It's all good. If it comes back to me, I'll tell you guys. Sorry. But anyway, he's a cool guy. He's on Instagram. Check him out, Darth Vader-1.
I always had a problem with the name Darth as a kid. I thought it was dark for the first half of my life.
Yeah.
And then the re-releases came out, and surely I'd figured it out by then, but when it was a revelation. Was like, they've been saying Darth this whole time?
What is happening to me?
I heard dark.
Now life is a lie.
So it took me a minute to catch up to that. Really, I've been saying this wrong. Nobody's called me out on it, so they didn't hear it either.
For real, man. It's all good. They think I'm right.
Man, it's been a rough couple of weeks for the Red Sox, and it started out, it was bad enough, but then Big Papi almost gets killed.
Yeah, that was crazy,
man.
I
saw the video on accident. I don't seek that stuff out. It's not into any type of thing like that, and I sit down. I'm gonna watch World News Tonight one night, and it got played. It's like, well, I guess I just saw it, and but. he's going to be okay and everything's moving on. It's going to be good. But it was already bad enough when Bill Buckner passed away not long ago, and that came to my mind because we were talking about Curb Your Enthusiasm earlier. And really, honest to God, it was just a crazy example in my lifetime of just how much impact one play can have on a dude. You know, I was talking with one of the guys after, and by the way, he had the same dementia that Robin Williams was diagnosed with.
Oh man!
If that gives you any type of idea of what it's, and because the last time I'd seen him on anything was that Curb episode, and I thought, my man, Bill's looking good for his age.
Yeah.
And that's how fast it can happen. But just I was talking with a dude, and his correlation was like, man, this guy was like Chipper Jones level. It's like, I don't know if he was Chipper Jones level, but in that conversation in that neighborhood, maybe more like Murphy level talent. And just one play happens, and all that's just gone. And I got the feeling anytime I would see Bill Buckner on something, the kind of same feeling I get from Kerry Von Erich, where he would just get right in the camera like, I promise I'm good. You don't need to worry about me. It's like, who are you trying to convince that that's true? I believe, and I may be totally wrong, it works for me. I believe Bill Buckner got the victory over that in that Curb Your Enthusiasm episode.
Oh, totally, man.
It is so good. It is high. That whole season of Curb that he spends in New York, it's landmark episode after landmark episode. But that one, to me, if you're gonna show somebody one, maybe that's not the one you start with, but it's definitely one of the ones in the top 10, probably top 5.
It'd be my top 3. I'm with definitely.
But
all the baseball ones, man, because
yeah.
the Hall of Fame is the other one that's just so ingenious, man. That is just awesome.
It's so good, and even Bill going back to Fenway all those years later, I didn't get that feeling that he was like, man, y'all want me to come back and show y'all love. I don't feel like he got the victory that he said he did until that episode, because it's just so freaking good, and it's such it's hard to say that people try to pick at that Curb Your Enthusiasm not being scripted concept a lot, but that's the one that people make, because I feel like Larry had an idea of going into this episode like, nah, I need to we need to move on from this, and this is the perfect way to do it, because the way it's all set up, like, man, this has, yes, ad-lib for the most part, but this one probably more than any other, it just feels like, no, we need a lot of stuff to build towards this, so don't go too far off the beaten path.
Yeah, the Curb not being scripted thing I've always had a hard time with, because it's just from one scene to the next. I mean, there's always a structure. There's always an idea of where you're going. It's like, again, talking about like wrestling promos. Well, wrestling promos weren't scripted back in the day. Sure they were, as far as like, here's what you got to get across. What it wasn't was dogmatic. It's not like you must say this note, this word, and this inflection. You got to hit on that. There's a difference between scripted and structured. It's loose, because my example always uses the third season. The third season of Curb Your Enthusiasm is probably the greatest single season of television I've ever seen. That's the producers.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, of course there was a script there, man, because you know where you're going towards the end, but it's just you let people make crap up. Like him and Susie, they put him and Susie together, and okay, this is this is what's going on in this episode. Okay, y'all bicker about it. That's it. It's like people are so weird about that, but it's like you get the same argument about reality TV and how it's all real, and it's like, y'all, none of that's real. Just telling somebody what to say and having a script are different things. It's just, it's not the same. So I'm totally with you. It's like, nah, they know what they're doing. It's not like Miles Davis TV, man, where you might get it, you might not. You're gonna get there.
It's worth seeking out. It's worth looking up, and I don't, especially with HBO Go now, it's not that hard to find. I'm pretty sure it's on Amazon Prime. At least it was the last time I went
The last time I watched that season, it was on Amazon. So as far as I know, it still is. It's definitely one to check out. But you know, that was one of those passions that I heard about. I wasn't ready to hear that.
Yeah, I hated that too because I like Bill. Bill's cool, man.
Yeah.
It's oh crap! I remember what I was going to tell you guys about Darth Vader earlier, and I'll tell you now. I'm sitting here with the white Masawa, and I forgot what I was talking about, man. It's that he had made a post for Masawa's anniversary, and some kid got on there and was just asking him, and it was all like, man, where can I watch the matches? What matches are good? What should I watch, and where can I watch them? And man, All Japan is on YouTube all the time. Like anything you want to find, you can find it. So that's what it was, is that, man, we were talking about getting on YouTube, but just all the wrestling that's available to you. You get on the Fight app, there's always new stuff. And, man, if you're up for old school stuff, if you've got the network, obviously you can do any of that. But, man, go to YouTube and type in either AJPW or Noah, and a lot of stuff comes up. And just watch what you want to. Also, Ring of Honor's YouTube page is pretty good. I was watching one the other day. It was Morishima and Danielson. And I can't believe those. I just can't believe the uncultured swine that were at that show, because they were all so happy to see Danielson. Don't get me wrong, Bryan Danielson's Bryan Danielson, but it's Takeshi Morishima. I'm like, you got to be kidding me! You're pulling for Danielson to beat Morishima. That kid was awesome, man. Takeshi Morishima was like Samoa Joe. I mean, he's that style of just super raw-boned, thick. That kid was, God, he was awesome. I still love that. I watched that match the other day. It was great, man.
Heck yeah. That's it. Joe Higuchi, All Japan Pro Wrestling, David Von Erich dead.
David Von Erich dead. Man,
well, I don't know why I laugh at stuff like that.
Man, the Von Erichs. We often talk about the old Von Erichs.
Something's wrong with me.
Oh, man. It was kind of cool. The kid asking about, like, what are some matches I gotta watch, and the one that I think Darth's name is Barry. He picked June '94, like the solo match with Kawada, which is unbelievable. I mean, Masawa and Kawada never missed, but that match is it's the same it's the reason I keep coming back with, like, well, Kenny Omega and Kazuchika Okada got the highest Dave Meltzer rating ever. Well, that's great, and it was cool. I enjoyed those matches, but it wasn't as good as '94, buddy. I'm telling you. For solo matches, I don't know if I've ever seen anything as good as that. I've seen stuff I like better, but it's perfect. So there's that one. I was trying to. I narrowed it down to 4. I was trying to do 3. I tried really hard to make. Okay, these are the 3 that you should watch. And what I should have done was just let Kawada '94 stand on its own, because it was already there. So I'd mentioned to the kid, like, okay, yeah, that one, you got to watch that one. And then it was, I used to know the dates of these, and I don't remember now because I'm just not very smart. But it was the year later, '95, the tag match. It's him and Kobashi against Kawada and Taue, and I'm telling you, that is as good as anything. That's my favorite wrestling match of all time. That's like Macbeth if it's a wrestling match. It's unbelievable. And then my other 2 I picked were, there's one from, I believe it was October, I want to say '99, it might have been '98, but it was October's Halloween. I think it was Halloween '99. It was him and Kobashi. And then there was the one from March, I think 2003, that was him and Kobashi. And that's the one where he tiger suplexes him off the ramp into the rail, and it's the most disgusting thing. Dude, you can't, I was like, man, you can't miss with any of these, man. But yeah, if you want to find out about Masawa, for the love of God, go to YouTube, type in AJPW Masawa, and whatever comes up, watch it. I do think that still top to bottom he's the best I've ever seen. I mean, I shouldn't say top to bottom, because there's not a promo element in Japanese wrestling that I understand, so I don't really consider it.
Yeah.
So maybe that's not so fair. So I guess top to bottom, man, that's tricky, because in ring, I honestly think AJ is as good as anybody I've ever seen. And then there's Eddie, who I worship, and Eddie's promos were always so good. Eddie's heel work was so good too, because Eddie was like great at begging off and just talking mad junk, and then just being, I love that. I love it. Yeah. Eddie's so good. I love that kid.
I guess the other big news that's come out in the past 2 weeks is, do you want to give an opinion on the whole Ambrose interview tour that he's been going on?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I listened to it. There were a lot of points that it's like, yeah, man, I feel you, but it didn't feel like there was new groundbreaking stuff.
Yeah, I liked it better when CM Punk did it with Colt Cabana.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. It's just the same thing. I was telling you about Ty Dillinger's commentary on his release from WWE. That one seemed more authentic to me. Because I've been saying this for the longest, and I'll stand by it. I ain't trying to trip on Dean Ambrose or anything. It's just like, yeah, it was better when Punk was doing his own stuff. Sorry, man. They're all George Carlin now. Everybody does the George Carlin joke, and it's like, you know what? George Carlin is on video. He's on tape. He's recorded. Let him tell his own jokes. You don't have to make everything CM Punk. His was real. Go listen to that if you want to see what that's about. Well, rephrase that. It seemed real. It's wrestling. Let's not be too quick to call anything real.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just like
Don't use that R word.
we already know this. We already know this, Dean.
I felt the frustration of what he was trying to get across, and yeah, man, it sounds awful, but it got to a point after sitting through it for so long, and he does another like 2-part interview with Wade Keller. After a while, it's kind of like, man, cry me a river. You know, you did what you needed to do. You weren't happy, leave. But if you're gonna go to the lengths that he did to just call out this, but it's not the writer's fault. But I'm gonna call it this writer that gave me this line. Then just go ahead and say the line, because now all you've done is you started all these rumors about how, what was he really supposed to say about Roman? I don't know. But people are gonna spin that now. They have free reign to just make stuff up, and people have started doing.
Yeah, which people are going to do anyway. But see, I'm very much with you. See, I didn't really believe that part. See, all of this stuff to me, Ambrose. When you listen to Punk and Cabana, that sounds like a frustrated guy venting his frustrations. And boy, it wasn't treated that way at the time, but it's because he was a lot more unpopular than Dean Ambrose was. I don't know why, because Dean married the pretty girl in wrestling, and we still love him, and Punk married the pretty girl in wrestling, and god damn, if her fans don't
jealous of him.
hate you now, exactly. I'm like, I don't get it, but whatever. Anyhow, the Punk thing seemed very real. Ambrose feels like you're doing Punk as an angle. I know I've told Jared, and it bothers me like hell to say that I'm in camp Vince Russo, but I'm proud to say I was in camp Vince Russo way before Vince Russo got here. So Vince Russo is in camp me. I've been saying forever, this is a work. I think these two companies are looking to work together, and it's great. It's great. Go check out JC Ventura and Chris Benoit. Chris Jericho. Because, boy, you'll hear, if you've watched the show, if you like the show, and you listen to us discuss the John Oliver and the eventual John Oliverization of pro wrestling, boy, it's going to sound real familiar to you. Because you get on Instagram and you try to explain to people that it's not about pyro, it's not about even like dollars and cents contracts. It is about unions, it's about employment status, or it's about not free agency, but independent contractor. That's the thing, is if you're an employee, they're employees. If they're independent contractors, you have no exclusivity. This dam's about to break. It's illegal. You've gotten away with it for a long time. Ain't gonna last forever. So what we're gonna have is either people that can go to the doctor when they need to, or people that can work anywhere they want to. And either way, as wrestling fans, we absolutely win. We totally, completely freaking win. Because the Usos showing up to wrestle the freaking Young Bucks. The Usos showing up to wrestle the Gorillas of Destiny, which is the big push now, man. Who in the world wouldn't want to see that? Everybody wants to see that. That'd be unbelievable, man. Freaking Adam Cole showing up to wrestle Kenny Omega, which I guess I can't book him with Kenny, because Kenny is... I think Kenny's we talked about this, I think, a little bit. Maybe we didn't, because we haven't talked about... I know we talked about it in real life, so I'll say it now. I absolutely love that Omega was booked to lose to Jericho, and you got to think he's going to lose to Ambrose, too. And it's interesting to me that, wins and losses matter. It's going to be like a sport, and wins and losses are going to matter. Yeah, but we're going to put Kenny Omega behind the 8 ball at 0-2. Yeah, it really matters. I just think that's funny that you say these. I was telling Jared, man, I just think that these guys are really good. They understand how to market on social media, which is to say, give the people what they want. I was telling Jared, here's the best example I can give you, and it's the notion of, well, double or nothing. It's Infinity War and Endgame. It's Gamora and Nebula. Whichever one I say, I probably.
Black Scarlet Widow Witch.
Dude, whichever one I say, I probably mean the other one. That's just how it is, man. But All Out. Well, it's in Chicago. He's got to be there because it's in Chicago. If I'm AEW and I have CM Punk signed to a contract right now, there is absolutely no way I'm putting him on that show. And I'm going to tell you why. A couple of reasons. One, basically establishing the precedent that your show always ends with the ex-WWE reveal is a terrible precedent to set. It's terrible. You need to break people of that right now because it's not going to be every show. We ain't going to have somebody show up every show. It's a bad idea. The other reason is this. If you've got him on contract and he's not at the Chicago show, the kids that don't like you, the people that want to trash AEW, you think they're going to let that one go?
Yeah.
Of course not. And so there's your advertising. There is your online social media advertising because negative sells. It just does because it doesn't matter. Dude, let me say about Twitter, man, it's not positive or negative interactions. It's impressions. That's all it ranks. That's it. Doesn't matter if people like it. Doesn't matter if people hate it. It does not matter. A retweet is a retweet. A click is a click. It all counts. People are going to make you rich and famous over that stuff. Now, if Punk doesn't show up in Chicago, are you going to skip the first episode of the TNT show? Let's say you do. Maybe you do. Maybe you skip the free one.
I just don't believe them anymore.
And that's okay. Sorry, they're the Von Erichs. They lied to me about Lance Von AEW lied to me about Lance Von Erich. I don't trust them.
They said Brock was going to cash in. He didn't cash in.
So, when Punk shows up on the first episode of your free TV and asks if he has everybody's attention now,
Yeah.
I'll bet you show up for the next week. And that's totally what I would do. Because, again, the precedent, I think, it's not the biggest deal there. It's just, that's a big mistake. You don't want people expecting somebody to jump out of the freaking crowd every single show. That's stupid. That's a terrible idea, and it's stupid. I would just save him. I'd save him for the free stuff. Because honest to God, when Twitter explodes the second he pops up on the screen, you think people might cut over and watch that last segment? I'll bet they do. That's the way I would do it. But that's totally what I would do. That's what I would do. And you go back and forth with people, and they get so mad about it. Oh, it's got to be at the Chicago show. I'm like, why? What's the benefit?
Yeah. I've been saying that he's got to show up at a Chicago show, whether it's WWE or AEW for the past, because was it been 5 years
6,000 shows that have been in Chicago.
So,
yeah. And that's the thing. That's the
said
caveat.
it about All In one.
But that's the caveat. Yeah, well, that was our thing. Our thing about, like, the first one, All In, was the last time you could do it and make it interesting. It's like, why do you care after that? And the only reason I'd bring him back now is if it's a work, if you're building to an invasion angle and a genuine crossover between NXT and AEW, which will ultimately be WWE and AEW because Triple H, please God, is taking over, then make him the guy. If the object is, you got Chris Jericho going on Jesse Ventura, and of course Ventura is going to talk about union issues because he tried to unionize back in the day. That was everybody. I think everybody knows that Jesse tried to unionize WWE years ago.
Not a year with lesson.
So he's into it. He's into it. So that's what he's going to talk about.
Yeah.
But now you got that issue out there. Put it out there. Put it on Front Street because that's the whole thing, man. Either way, it's good because as soon as you start doing it, we've said it before. I will say it again now. If AEW starts offering contracts to their employees, which apparently they already have because Chris Jericho, according to what he told Jesse, has insurance, that's game over. One way or the other, because Vince can either follow suit or we can change Brett screwed Brett to Vince screwed Vince. Because AEW's not going to put Vince out of business. You're right, they're not. Because if he decides to not follow suit here, he can do it himself. It's great. One way or the other, it's great. Because either everybody's employed or everybody's free. I love it.
Yeah.
I think that was the end of that.
That's cool.
Yeah, man.
That's what's up.
That's how we do it, y'all. Thanks for hanging in there. Sorry we've been gone so long.
Rock and roll.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man.